Hi everyone, so I haven't done a video in a while. I think I haven't done a video since I started uni, and let me just say it's amazing and I'm enjoying every single minute, but that's not what this video is. I thought, seeing as this channel is hopefully going to be both university and my love of books, I thought I would combine kind of my love of history and my books today and talk about my favourite books that I've recently bought. And yeah, I haven't read some of them yet, but I'm excited to. Some of them I've just started because I'm one of these people who can read more than one book at a time, and I know a lot of people think, what? You can read more than one book? How can you keep up with the storylines? I just can. My brain seems to be able to do it. So in this video I'm going to show you my recently bought books with my Christmas vouchers and my birthday money that I got last year back in September. I hope you enjoy the video and comment down below your favourite books that you've bought recently or that you've read recently. I would love to see everyone else's recommendations. So the first book that I've bought that I cannot actually wait to get started on is Because of You by Dawn French. I think this is going to be a really good, thoughtful, insightful book. The fact that it's about mothers and daughters is that was the first thing that was like, I need this book. I have a very good relationship with my mum, so I knew this was something that not only I would want to read, but my mum would want to read. My mum is the reason that I have a love of reading. Like, without her and my nan, all our family has always loved reading, and I think that has definitely had a big influence on me, and so this book I'm excited for. If you've read it, let me know what you think of it. This book is one that I am definitely the most excited to read, and you'll see why. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a witch, and I don't say that lightly. My nan was a witch, I'm a witch. I am just starting to learn my craft, so this book is definitely going to be one that I'm excited to read on, because it's a history of magic, witchcraft and the occult. And I think this will be really interesting because it's, as I said, more about the history, and the foreword is by Susanna Lipscomb, who is my favourite historian to have ever walked the earth. And even in the beginning, like, you can see the images, like you see images that you see in like Harry Potter and things like that, and I can't wait to get started on this. This is really exciting for me. This cost me £18 for good. Obviously that sounds a lot of money for a book, but I thought it was worth it. And it wasn't technically my money I was spending, it was my book voucher, and I thought I would want to spend it on something that maybe I wouldn't usually spend it on. So that's why this book came around, and I'm excited. If you have read it, again, let me know what you think of it. The next book, right, this is what I've just started reading, and I wanted to read it because my favourite time in history is the Wars of the Roses. It's my favourite thing to learn about. It's my favourite thing that I can like understand straight away. I brought, and this isn't like me, I don't like buying fictional history books. I like to make sure that my books that I buy on history are historically right, historically factual. But this one is a fiction and it comes in a trilogy, and this is the first book, and I'm already enjoying it. It's brilliant. And this is the bookmark I have, and I can't remember where I got it from. I think my nan might have given it to me because it's... But yeah, this is the bookmark. And then that's the other side. I don't know if you can see that really. So yeah, that's the one I'm reading at the moment, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's so different to anything that I usually read. And I think the fact that I know it's fiction and it's got my love of the Wars of the Roses, it's one of those books. There's a load of fictional history books that I don't like reading because I know that it's not real. Like, it's not based on, well, it is based on true events, but it's not got the things that I know that are correct in the book. It's falsified. That's how I see it, and that's probably a really bad way of explaining it, but it doesn't sit right with me. So the fact that I'm actually reading a fictional history book is impressive, let me just say. My next favourite historian is a guy called Dan Jones. I think he's amazing, he's brilliant, he articulates himself so well, he is so good at explaining history. Like, he doesn't just go on and talk about it, he explains it. And I could know nothing whatsoever about history and he would make me understand. I want to talk about this book first because I got this book last year. It's Realm Divided, and it's about the Plantagenets, and I love that. This book was extraordinary, and that's all I can say really. It was extraordinary. It literally makes you think so much about what lives were like during that time. It was just brilliant, and that's all I can say on it. Now this one I haven't read yet. That is The Crusaders, and I really wanted to buy this one because, now this is going to surprise people, I was brought up in a religious household. Well, not in a household, but my nan was religious. That's why I wanted to buy this one, because it's combining my love of history as well as the religious aspect that I've grown up with. And yeah, and it's, when I was younger I hated going to church, but then as I got older and I began finding God in a way, and this is a point I want to point out. You can be a witch and be a Christian. There is nothing against that, okay? You can be both. So if anyone tells you that you can't, send them my way, because I'm going to tell you otherwise, because that's what I am. I will leave links to all the books that I talk about in this video below, so you guys can go and order or read them or whatever. Another one by Dan Jones I meant to talk about is The Hollow Crown, this book. I haven't actually read this one yet, but I am excited to. So this book is about the Wars of the Roses, or more likely the end of the Wars of the Roses, and the rise of the Tudors, the Tudor dynasty. And again, I think this book has been very well explained. And I say that because I say I haven't read it, but I have read like the first chapter. And even in that first chapter, it's really well written. You can read it and understand the history again without really knowing a lot about the history. And I think that's when you know a historian and a writer are really good at what they do, because they can get across the historical aspect to somebody who doesn't know anything about it, and for them to be able to understand. Although I'm not somebody who doesn't know anything about history, I know loads. I've been doing research since I was about 12 or 13. So yeah. This book, however, is really good, but I found it really difficult to get into, which makes it quite sad. Because once you get into it, it is really good, and you do understand it, but I struggled. It's The Woodfield by Susan Higginbotham, and Elizabeth Woodville on the back. So, if you don't know, my favourite person in history, royalty, is Elizabeth Woodville. I know so much about her it would scare you. This book I definitely found was a real struggle. It's called The Woodvilles, The Wars of the Roses and England's Most Infamous Family. And I like how it does talk about her family, her mum and her dad and her brothers and sisters, but it was too hard for me to get into, and I wouldn't read it again because of that, because it was so difficult for me. These three books I have not read yet, and I'm really excited to read. So, first one, Edward IV, Glorious Son of York. I'm definitely really excited to read this because, as you just heard, I love Elizabeth Woodville and obviously Edward IV was the husband and king of Elizabeth Woodville, so I'm very excited. And it looks really good, and it looks like something that I could definitely read. Next one, it's Medieval Women, Social History of Women in England, 1450 to 1500, and it's by Henrietta Laser, I think is how you say the name. And I'm really excited because I think this will really open my eyes to how completely different that time was for women. I mean, I already know how different it was, but to kind of read about specifically to women rather than just as a whole of that time, I think that's going to really open my eyes, and I think I would really recommend it without even reading it yet. This one I got for my birthday, and this was from my auntie Cheryl because I asked for this one. I have a bit of a thing, or not a thing, I have a bit of a love for Catherine de Medici, and if you do not know who she was married to the King of France, and her daughter-in-law was Mary Queen of Scots when she married Francis. Francis sadly died at a very young age, so the Mary Queen of Scots came back. This book is about Catherine de Medici and her daughter Marguerite de Valois. I can't speak French, so I am sorry. It's by Nancy Goldstone. This is the book. It's Rival Queens, but I still haven't read this, and it's on my list. I have so many books to read that I'm actually selling a bunch of my old books because I need to make room. But they're also books that I'm not going to read again, so that's fine. But that one I'm specifically excited to read this one because it's Catherine de Medici, and I think her as a whole is so intriguing and so interesting. And I'm sorry about the noise, my stepdad is in the car. But yeah, I think Catherine is just one of these characters in history, one of these people who you want to learn so much about because she's so different. She's not somebody that you would necessarily understand, and I don't think anyone can really understand people in history unless you're that person, but it gets you a step closer to understanding them, you know. This one is not a book that I'm going to be reading like a story, but it's Wicker Starter Pack, and that's what I was talking about earlier, was the fact that I have just started my craft and I'm excited. So yeah, I'm really excited to look through this. I have started, but I'm excited to kind of learn more about what I'm going to be doing. And the last and final one is this. I got this for my Christmas present from my aunt. And if you don't know, I absolutely adore Call the Midwife. So I had been waiting for this for ages. This book is brilliant because it's got all your favourite quotes. You can see pictures of the cast in here as they call the midwife characters, like Lucille and Trixie and Valerie and things like that. And it's got that book smell, but it's just beautifully written and beautifully done. That's it really. I will leave all the links to the books below, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more book recommendations or book videos, I will do them. My next video will be on university, about obviously how I'm getting on, things like that. Any video recommendations, leave in the comments below, as well as leaving book recommendations, that'd be awesome. And is there any videos relating to Open University that you would like me to talk about as well? So with all that said, I hope you enjoy the video. Don't forget to give this video a like, don't forget to leave a comment because I love replying to comments, and don't forget to subscribe, obviously. So I'll see you next time.